All right, so I guess I'll go. So, I've been, or so just like to reiterate how I ended up finding Game. This is kind of a long story, but I'll try to make it quick. So as you can see, I am wearing an AOL 4.0 T-shirt that says beta tester on it. Um, because back in 1998, when before AOL 4.0 was released, I was an AOL beta tester. I'm not that much older than a bunch of you. I just got in really young. But so for years I'd used AOL, and obviously I had um, developed quite the amount of contacts and stuff like that on AIM. So skip forward a couple years. And it was about 2003, and I had started using Linux on the desktop all the time. Actually, my viewers have heard the story a million times, but yeah. So I had started using Linux on the server all the time, and I got into the point where I was going to need to reinstall Windows, because this is like Windows XP days, where like every 6 months you just got to reformat and reinstall if you want your machine to run decently. Um, so I had been running Linux on the server for a while at that point, and I was like, there's this new thing out there called Knoppix that just like automatically boots Linux and you don't have to install it. So I gave Knoppix a try, saw my hardware worked, and was like, all right, I'm going Linux. But then I got to Linux and I'm like, crap, how do I talk to all my friends? It's like the classic problem. So I remember trying a couple things. I had tried Gaim initially, but like when I was using AIM, I got used to an extension called Dead AIM, which did logging as well as toaster pop-ups. And now everybody's nodding their heads going toaster pop-ups. Yeah, so my first inkling into Pidgin or game development in general was I started writing a plugin called Gooifications that did toaster pop-ups. Um, so I had spent a ton of time on this thing, and just was working on all that. I'd occasionally run into bugs in game and that kind of stuff. And it's like, all right, so what do I do? Report a bug? And it's like, yeah, somebody might get to it, they might not. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll start fixing them. So, that's how I started getting involved in patching and everything. And that was July-ish of 2003. So, since then, on and off with the project here and there, that kind of stuff. I think one of my most crazy moments, or like craziest memories of Game, the project itself, is like, I remember when Sean committed the WYSIWYG stuff for the GTK IMHTML widget, and then I think he went on vacation for like 2 weeks. So, I remember me and Kevin Stain, she's not here right now, Sim guy, we're like, all right, well, we're not going to hit our release window, because at that time we were releasing every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something. And this was Thursday every other week or every 3 weeks, I don't remember. So like that's one of the reasons why on my Twitch stream here Thursday night is Pidgin night, because that was release night. So it's kind of an homage back to it and all that. And like when we do a Pidgin release now, we do it on Thursday night on stream, which is nerve-wracking, but yeah. But yeah, so I remember me and Kevin were going through, we're finding all these weird problems with the WYSIWYG stuff. That's like all the stupid stuff you run into when you try to do WYSIWYG. I remember I built an XSL transform so that I could keep track of the list of bugs we had in an XML sheet and have it rendered in a web page, because I was really big into XSL at the time. Um, and just other crazy stuff like that. Yeah, Stu just said in chat he remembers some guy's list. But yeah, so that's like the main part of how I got into the project. I don't exactly remember how Sean ended up giving me developer access or commit access. I know it was something, and like I said something smart or something, and then similar to the other guys, it was like, fine, well now you have commit access, clink. But I don't remember the specifics behind it or anything. So,
as I recall it, when I'd be like the official person to give the commit access out, but I would like ask people for their consensus first, like the other developers. Oh, it wasn't like a unilateral thing. I think I like to get other people's opinions. So.
Right, yeah, I'm sure you talked to Luke at the time, and probably Ethan too. Which actually, I muted
Yeah.
Pidgin. I might not be hearing stuff from
When,
people.
yeah, and I'm sure that I know, at least in my case, I had many patches under my belt that you guys had all reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I will say there was definitely, and I assume, you know, Sean was a big part of this. Like, there was definitely a strong emphasis on consensus in this project. I don't know that I'm necessarily contrasting that with others. You know, I mean, certainly there are some projects where there's the sort of benevolent dictator, but Gaim always functioned for me, I think, on a consensus basis. There was very much a let's try to get consensus. Let's all try to agree. You know, and that also manifested in other things too. Like, you know, there was always a big sense of responsibility. Like, if you broke the build, you got to get right on that and fix it. You know, whatever. Like, and I realize that development attitudes have moved on now to continuous integration and pull requests and always having a buildable trunk and things like that. But you know, there always seemed to be like this, you know, like you had a responsibility if you broke something to fix it. It was okay that you broke it, but you had to fix it. And I always liked that as an approach. I always felt like everyone, you know, it was a fun project and all that, but there was some seriousness as well. Like, well, we know that other developers are running this code. Like, you just broke their systems. Like, you know, you better fix it, or whatever. At least that's the impression I got.
Yeah, I would say, like, not even just like pull requests and CI have changed it, but like just distributed VCS in general has made that a lot less of a problem. But yeah, no, I'm trying to think if I'm sure I broke the build at some point, but I'm not having that or I'm not remembering like that oh shit moment of like, oh, I gotta fix it, okay, yeah. But I'm sure it happened. So yeah, I'm not sure.